What's up, guys? Today I wanted to revisit the OnePlus 8 in 2022. Guys, this is a very slept on phone. You should definitely consider this phone if you're in the market for an older flagship phone, and if you're a OnePlus fan, I would definitely pay attention to this phone. And also anybody who's just looking for a new phone on a budget, this is an extremely good option. So if you go on eBay, Amazon, you can see these phones are trending for 179 bucks, just like this used refurbished model I have here. A lot of my older flagship phones I get used refurbished, guys, so I always have a pretty good experience. So you see 200 bucks, 175 bucks. It's just a great value right now, and it'll surprise you guys when I start going over these specs at how much you actually get with this phone. So let's go ahead and get started here, and I want to take a look at the display because that's one of my favorite things about this phone. So it's got a fluid AMOLED display. It is a 90 hertz display, and it is HDR 10 plus on here at 6.5 inches. It also is 1080p 402 for the PPI. As you can see, you have your little punch hole on the left hand side. The display does have a slight curve to it as well, so it kind of reminds me of, you know, the OnePlus my 7 Pro's display, but you know, that one is 1440p. This is 1080p, but it still looks really good for a 1080p panel. Colors and everything super vibrant, deep blacks on this screen. Like I said, I don't get accidental touches. I've said this a lot. I've never had an issue with curved displays. I actually really like how they look. A lot of people hate curved displays, but I really like this one, so I don't have any issues with the display here. Pretty nice screen to bezel ratio on this phone as well too. So this phone having the 90 hertz is also really nice as well too, to get that 90 hertz, because most older flagship phones, just like the V60 and most older phones that a lot of us like, you don't have the high refresh rate. So at least this one has the 90 hertz on it as well too. So it just feels buttery smooth when you're in your application, scrolling, basically doing whatever. Everything just feels buttery smooth here. So that's one thing that I really like about this phone. Now the OnePlus 8 does have a Snapdragon 865 chip, so it is extremely fast phone. It is super fast, and I think Oxygen OS just makes it feel even, you know, more faster in my opinion. You have the Adreno 650, no SD card support unfortunately, 128 gigs of internal storage and 6 gigs of RAM. So if you're buying this phone for 175 bucks, the gaming experience on here is absolutely nuts. So if you check out my gaming test that I did on this phone, you can see that we're able to play games at even some games at 90 frames. I think Fortnite supported 90 frames, Call of Duty, PUBG, they all supported 90 frames. I was absolutely blown away because you don't even get that option on like the S22 Ultra, like some newer phones. You don't get that 90 frames. So I think this is absolutely crazy deal for anybody that's super serious about gaming and you're on a strict budget, you can't afford, you know, that $1,000 phone or whatever. This is an excellent option, guys. It plays everything at high and, like I said, at 90 frames. Absolutely great optimization from OnePlus to be able to do that. I'm not sure how they get this sort of optimization with the games. But yeah, that is absolutely awesome, and I really like the gaming experience on here. And again, the nice display on here, it all just comes together to make a really great experience. Now, we need to touch on Oxygen OS itself. So this phone is running the Android 11, and this phone will get the Android 12. I'll make an updated video about that. I am waiting for that. They have been a little bit slow lately, OnePlus, with pushing updates to the older phones like the 7 Pro and the OnePlus 8. These phones should have been gotten Android 12, so they're a little bit slow. They used to be really fast with their updates now, so they're a little bit lacking or slacking this year, but it will come. This phone will get up to Android 13 as far as major OS updates are concerned. So Oxygen OS is kind of the selling point with a lot of these OnePlus phones. It's just, everything is just super smooth. Everything is really clean. There's not a ton of bloatware. There's not a ton of double applications and stuff like that. Like, yes, you have your OnePlus stuff, but it's not like Samsung where you have 2 galleries, 2 browsers. There's just not a ton of stuff on here, right? And I like just the layout, everything. It kind of reminds me of stock Android a little bit. Now it's not the most featured pack like a One UI or a MIUI. You don't have, you know, Samsung desktop support and all the little crazy features that they throw in One UI. But it is very simple. It's always pretty fast. Even on older devices, I never really complain about the speed on these phones. And also, I actually like how they do the customization layout on this phone as well too. It's all very simple, very easy to get to as well. I can change my icon pack straight from here. So I do like the setup on Oxygen OS. I've always really liked it, and I always really like how they keep everything minimal on here. I have stereo speakers on the OnePlus 8. Let's go ahead and hear what they sound like. Max volume. So pretty good sounding stereo speakers. Even if you cover the bottom speaker, the top speaker is putting in a good amount of work. Also, the vibrations on this phone are pretty decent as well too. You can definitely hear it vibrating and stuff like that, no problem. The other additional features is that this phone does have a in-display fingerprint sensor. It's extremely fast, the same one on the OnePlus 7 Pro that I love so much, and I just have no issues with this guy at all. So this phone does not have any official IP rating on here. Now I believe I saw some videos where you can get this thing wet, but I wouldn't like risk it or anything like that. I think it's the same situation with the 7 Pro where they just cut the cost, not putting the official rating on here. And talking about the body of the phone, it is a glass and metal phone with an aluminum frame. It feels really nice to hold in the hand. It's not a super heavy phone. It's not super thick as well, and I don't have any issues with the, you know, build quality on here. It still feels super premium. I still think the design still looks really good. You do get, you know, the fingerprints on this model, but if you get the other colors, the fingerprints won't show up that easily. Also, we need to talk about the cameras on the OnePlus 8. So the cameras on the OnePlus 8, they're not bad by any means. But for an older flagship, I like some of the other phones a little bit more. I think it's just how OnePlus does the colors on their older phones. So it's the same case with the 7 Pro and the OnePlus 8. Now, like I said, they're not bad cameras. You have a 48 megapixel standard, a 16 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 2 megapixel macro camera. You also get 4K 60 and then a 16 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 1080p 30. So the images come out fine. You get good amount of detail and good lighting. It's only when you take this phone into just sort of average lighting to below average does it start to get a little grainy. The colors just don't look right. You have to do color correcting on here. But besides that, the dynamic range looks really good. You get a good amount of detail with the shots and stuff like that. The ultra wide is fine. The macro sensor is okay. It's a little, like 2 megapixels. It's just kind of like, it's not enough detail for me. It at least needs to be 5 megapixels, but I think the cameras are solid, especially at this price. The dark, mode photos on here, or like just low light images in general, are just kind of okay. I will go ahead and let you guys see the video as well too, but also I thought the selfie was pretty decent on here as well. I thought the selfie was actually kind of decent. I didn't actually have an issue with it. Besides, again, like if you do a little color correcting, I think it's fine. Now, last is the battery life. So this phone does have a 4,300 milliamp battery, but the thing about the battery situation is that there's actually no wireless charging on this phone. But you do have the fast charging at 30 watts, which is pretty fast, so it does charge up very fast. You just don't have the convenience of the wireless charge, so just keep that in mind if you're a big fan of wireless charging. But battery life is actually pretty good on here. Even though this phone does not have like a massive 5,000 milliamp battery, it actually will easily get through the day, I noticed. So I don't know if that's OnePlus optimization or something like that, but it easily gets through a day, easily gets 6 hours of screen on time with this phone. So as far as the OnePlus 8 goes in 2022, I just think it's an awesome phone. I think the main thing with this phone, if I'm a gamer, I'm looking at this phone hard, right? For the great screen, the great processor, and the optimization, being able to play everything at 90 frames is kind of crazy, all of your major games. And it's just a really good phone in general. I think the weak spot might be the cameras just a little bit compared to the older Samsungs and the LG phones. I think those have better cameras than this. But other than that, this is an awesome, older flagship phone to consider. So be sure to let me know what do you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.